This is Doc Akh coming at you live and direct today from Black Facts Headquarters Central. Good noonday, good noonday. Hoping everybody's having a good one today, like I am over here. Boom, there we go. Now, got all these cameras working. All right, so we're coming up on the end of the month and the beginning of the next month, which is Avril or April. So time is just marching on. We're moving into the fourth month of the year already. It seems like just yesterday it was January 1st. Yeah. Sometimes makes me wonder sometimes how I keep from going under. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and do what we need to do. If you haven't already, please give us a like and a thumbs up, and then go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel below. You see the link up with us if you don't mind, and feel free to share with your friends, your family, and your relatives too. I'm sure there's some of them that would like to enjoy just like you. All right, so let's see what we got here today. Oh, we're gonna read a proverb out of our old proverb book. This proverb book is an amazing little book. I mean, it is the tiniest little book you ever want to see, but it is just jam-packed with proverbs. It's actually amazing how many proverbs you could fit in this book. And each proverb, when you pack them, each proverb says a lot. So I've really come to really enjoy reading these proverbs. I also, in particular, I like this particular book because it tells you what part of Africa the proverbs come from as well. Not just an African proverb, because I don't know what does that mean. Okay. Oh, here goes one here. Good one for today. He who is sick will not refuse medicine. He who is sick will not refuse medicine. So, maybe that's a sign of the times. He who is sick will not refuse medicine. All right, and that's a proverb from Nigeria. And then I'm going to read you an extra proverb. This is going to be like our poem for today. Oh, I don't even have to read this one. This one is so short, I can memorize it. And it goes like this. This is a Kiswahili proverb. So by definition, it's from East Africa or the Central Africa, from the east side of the Congo, which, is a vast area. So the proverb goes like this. Kawia ufike. That's it. It's the whole proverb. Kawia ufike. And kawia ufike means to delay so that you may arrive. Delay so that you may arrive. Kiswahili proverb for the day. Now, starting next month, we're just getting into them a little early, but just to give you a taste, a little tasty taste of what we got coming up next month. We're going to be doing all Kiswahili proverbs for the entire month of April. This will be a first, doing the proverbs in the language that they were originally said in. I mean, they have some good ones. The one I did yesterday was haraka haraka hyena baraka. Now you see, I've got that one memorized. And that one also has to do with this idea of time. See, because a lot of times we don't think about it. We take a lot of things for granted. And one of the things we take for granted is that time just is, and it always was, and there never was a time when time did not exist. But in all actuality, there was a time before time, when time did not exist. Give you an example. How many squirrels you see running around with a wristwatch? Or how many kangaroos you see pull a pocket watch out that pouch? Okay? They don't know anything about time, but they know when it is the right season, the right moment to do different things. to come out of hibernation, to go into hibernation, to go north, to fly south. They have an innate sense of the moment without ever really encountering the idea or the concept. We can really call this, truthfully, we can call this a concept of time. So in some cultures, like amongst the Kiswahili, you say haraka haraka haina baraka, and that means you will miss your blessing if you go too fast. Hurrying will make you miss your blessing. Slow down so you can receive your blessing. And so this one, kawia ufike, is saying this very same thing. Delay so that you may arrive. There you go. All right. So a lot of wisdom packed into a little tiny package. Tiny itty bitty proverbs that when you see them on a piece of paper, you would think that you could just ignore it and it wouldn't be a big deal. But actually, there's a lot more to those proverbs than what meets the eye. Right. It's all about what meets the ear, the heart, and the mind. Speaking of which, I hope you don't mind. We're going to go ahead and read our story today. We're on chapter 14 of Revolt in Ethiopia, a black insurrection against Italian imperialism. It's a tale from back in the days of World War II, when the Italians invaded the Ethiopians, and the Ethiopians were doing everything they could to fight off the Italians, including being willing to exchange their national treasury or a part of their national treasury for cash money and arms so that they could buy food and supplies, weapons in particular, for the people. So Dick Princess Zunda and her entourage that consisted of Dick Welland and Bill, I don't remember Bill's last name, but Dick's valet, Bill, had just arrived at a place called Abra Destum. They've just arrived at a place called Abra Destum. They have jumped out of an airplane. All three of them jumped out of an airplane and parachuted down with their goods and everything, coming down by a separate parachute. And they're met there by some Italians who would like to do them bodily harm. So let's see how they get out of this one. Dick dropped his rifle, lifted his hand high above his head. Bill and the princess did likewise. The Italian soldiers, sturdy fellows in shorts and short shirt sleeves, with deeply bronzed arms and faces, hustled them together. A squat, square-built man with swarthy skin, in other words, he looked like a black man, and fierce mustaches and eyebrows, pushed through the circle of soldiers. Like them, he wore a khaki shirt, but otherwise he was dressed in civilian clothes, long khaki trousers, a white helmet, and mosquito boots, whatever those are. He eyed the three captives. There was something vaguely familiar about the man. Dick tried to remember where he had seen him. Then Bill Simpson murmured out of the corner of his mouth, "Of the ship, one of the Italians. I seen him coming out of that Spaniard's cabin and go into the princess's cabin. That's the guy, all right." The Italian, evidently in charge of the detachment, turned to the soldiers and snapped out a command in his language. 3 of the 12 soldiers dropped their guns and began searching the prisoners. They removed each garment, searching it carefully until all 3 of them stood there nude, stark naked. Enraged and helpless, Dick had to stand by with 2 bayonets at his back while the shocking indignity was visited upon the princess. When they had searched, he ain't even thinking about himself. When they had searched and found nothing, the commander shouted another order. The men now turned to the bundles, searching every article minutely. Dick knew what they were looking for. Princess Etarra, with a bayonet point pressing against her back, was crying convulsively. "Brave, though she was and hardened to dangerous adventure, the humiliation was too much for a girl of gentle birth. Now you know how she was born. Dick could stand it no longer. Give her back her clothes, you swine, he shouted at the swarthy leader. Where do people like you come from anyway? It was the first word he had spoken, being ignorant of Italiano, but he was unable to keep silent any longer. He had hardly spoken when the sharp points of the bayonet pierced his bare back. The squat Italian turned with a sneer on his face. So, exclaimed the man, a cruel smirk on his brigand's countenance. I'm a swine, eh? Dick was surprised that he spoke English. Perhaps he was the same man Bill had seen on the ship. Well, we shall see who is swine, he added. He spoke to a soldier. The man promptly took the sling off his rifle and handed it to him. Now, Mr. Veland, we shall see who is swine, he repeated. Lie down on your face. Hurry up. The soldiers prodded Dick again. What for? Asked Dick, eyeing the Italian sling and then glancing into the malevolent visage of the Italian. What's the idea? He was pushed violently from behind for an answer. He sprawled forward. Princess Etarra screamed and rushed toward him. The sling in the commander's hand rose, described an arc, and descended with a cruel whistle, cutting into her shoulder. The pain was maddening. Blood spurted where the metal of the sling cut into her beautiful, smooth skin. She screamed and fell over in a faint across the recumbent form of Dick. The Italian picked her up and slung her to one side. Willing bayonets pinned Dick to the earth. The rifle sling rose again and with an ominous whistle bit deep into the flesh of Dick's back. The pain was excruciating, but he only bit his lip to hold back his cries. Again and again, the heavy strip of leather lashed Dick's back until it seemed that each time would be the last he could possibly stand. He was dizzy, numb with pain, aching in every muscle. Suddenly the punishment ceased. Bill stood helpless, with tears in his eyes, bayonet point stuck in his back. Now, Mr. Veland, sneered the Italian, I will ask you a question and you will answer truth, eh? Dick said nothing. Do you hear me, Mr. Veland? Huh? Or must I use the whip again? Dick turned over painfully, his back a patter of red welts from which blood dripped. He sat up and nodded slowly. Aha! You are what you say reasonable now, eh? Grinned the Italian. Now you will tell me, where is the sacred ring? What ring? Asked Dick, fencing for time. There was a chance that the soldiers guarding the treasure somewhere on the mountain might put in their appearance. They must have seen Yamru's smoke bombs or heard his machine gun signal. Come, Mr. Veland. Do you tell me or do I resume? Remember, Mr. Veland, you are no longer the wealthy Galahad. You are in Ethiopia, and this is now white man's country. Understand? You tell me where is the ring, or you be very sorry. I don't know anything about any ring, growled Dick. I've never seen any ring. What kind of ring is it? Could you describe it to me, please? The Italian eyed him maliciously and gripped the leather sling tighter. I am not the fool, Mr. Veland. I know all about you. I was with you on the ship when you were, so gallant to the woman. I know all about the airplane you hired to leave ship even before you leave. See? I know you fly from Alexandria. I know you helped kill Italian flyers. You have been very, very indiscreet, shall we call it. For less than that man have died. Now you know about these ring. You should tell me now what you know. You didn't find any ring honest, did you? No, you have been very clever, Mr. Veland. But you know where is the ring, and that you should tell me at once. I'll tell you nothing, you miserable, detestable blackguard, Dick shouted. Now go on and do your cowardly worst. Very brave, Mr. Veland. Well said. However, I shall weep you no more. Perhaps that woman has the ring. Yes, I shall see. He turned to the prostrate princess, who was just reviving from the cruel blow he had delivered, and touched her with his boot. She started, her eyes distended with terror. He looked down at her beautiful body with lustful approval, then winked at the surrounding soldiers. They all grinned. Stand up, he commanded with a growl. She slowly obeyed, looking helplessly at Dick, watched carefully by his two guards and Bill, who was likewise unable to aid her. The Italian came closer. I want that ring, he growled. You have it. Give it up immediately, or I'll whip you until you do. Understand? As he spoke, he shook the sling back and forth in front of her face. Now, see here, cried Dick. You can't whip a woman. Can't you see she has no ring? Oh, so I cannot whip a woman, eh? We shall see, Mr. Valland, he hissed. Now, Vince, give up that ring. Princess Etarra's chin tilted and her neck arched proudly with all the noble blood of 20 centuries. You swine, she cried. Do you think I would give you a ring if I had one? Do you think I would do anything to injure or betray Ethiopia? Do you think for 1 minute that in order to save my own skin, I would yield to you? No, 1,000 times no. If I must die, I shall gladly do so, but I shall tell you nothing. Man, this sister is hard. This is one hard sister here, boy. She don't play. The Italian's face hardened as he looked at the slim, nude young princess standing defiant before him, as haughty as though she were addressing the slaves on her former vast estates. You really telling me something when I am finished, he threatened, tightening the sling about his wrist. I will whip you worse than I whip your lover. I will whip you until you will be very glad to talk. I will teach you smart niggas a lesson. But before you get the whip, there is something else. He walked closer and placed a hairy paw on her delicate shoulder. He surveyed her perfect figure. Stop, she cried, falling back in loathing as she divined his intent. 2 soldiers grabbed her while the Italian smirked, his damp lips working with lust. Dick and Bill tried to move toward her, but the other soldiers closed in on them. She screamed piteously as, throwing down the sling, he took her shoulders in his big hairy hands and pulled her to one side as she struggled against him, her tiny fist beating against his gorilla-like chest. Her screams echoed over the mountainside and deep valleys beyond as he pulled her toward a scrub oak. His face was close to hers as he forced her backward. Her head swam as she fought against him. Afterward, you will tell, eh? He chuckled. Suddenly, as she was almost forced to the ground, the man straightened up with a look of surprise and pain on his face, turned halfway around. Blood gushed from his lips. Then his knees buckled and he fell at her feet. Wow. So sorry I can't keep on with that chapter, but I'm sorry. That was the end of the chapter. Dang, man. Wow, I wonder what happened. I bet you do too. I told you, this brother knows how to write a book, okay? He had serialized this in the newspaper, so if you can imagine, every week you'd get one chapter in the newspaper. You'd have to wait for a whole week to get the next chapter. Yeah, this went on for, 6 months. It looks like a good 6 months. So you're getting it in less than 1 month, because I didn't start at the beginning of February reading from this book. I wish I had, though, because I'd been saving this one. This was my last scholar book that I had to read. This is the last one, and I was holding on to it to read it. I actually thought it had Ethiopian, more like folk tales in it. I knew there weren't a whole bunch of them in it, so I hadn't accessed it yet. But as you see right now, there's really only 2 stories in there. And this is one of them, and it is what they call a nail biter. Yeah, it's full of action from start to finish. He's got this thing jam-packed. So, will be black tomorrow. Yep, we'll be black tomorrow because tomorrow is the last day of the month. So we got one more day to read from this story, and we will see what happened. What happened with Princess Zunda, Dick Welland, and Bill Sifton on their travels in war-torn Ethiopia. Revolt in Ethiopia, a black insurrection against Italian imperialism. Hell of a title. All right, so meanwhile, you know it's time for us to do what we got to do. We got to move on. I got some breakfast upstairs. I'm going to go on up and enjoy some of my homemade granola. That granola was so jam-packed. I ate it yesterday, and it was the only meal I ate all day. I couldn't really eat anything else. I was too full to eat anything else at all yesterday, so I got to eat it early in the day. It's like coffee. You don't want to drink it too late in the day because it'll fill you up. You need to be able to work it off during the day. So I'm going to eat early today, and we'll see how it goes down. I'm going to eat less, too. I think I overindulged yesterday, but it was so good. It was so good. I've been missing my granola. I haven't had granola in quite some time. So we're going to leave you with thoughts of what happened with your imagination. We're going to leave you with your own imagination to imagine what happens next in this story. In the meanwhile, you know what you need to do. Give us a like, a thumbs up, subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts YouTube channel, and of course, we want you to all to live long and prosper. Peace out, y'all. This is Doc Akh signing off, and I'm just going to give a wave over here to Ansar and to Esther Owens, and I saw somebody else up here. Whoops, thought I saw Sydney Harris. Okay, Sydney, I see you over there. Boom. Who else was out there? Somebody else was out there, I thought. Was that it? Nope, that was it. All right, we'll see y'all. We'll be black tonight, 9 p.m. Peace out, y'all.